Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's Calder White with Diamond J Insulation. This morning, I'm going to be showing you through our bid process, how we go about it, how accurate we get it. So by the time we get done with this bid, we're going to know everything about this house. We're going to know exactly how much material to bring. We're going to know how many man hours it's going to take. We're going to know everything about this house. So first of all, this page here, I can go in, put my material cost. I can put my all my yields for how far things will go, my install rate per man hour. We've got our consumables in here. We've got our miles to the job site. What are we paying our guys? We've got our pricing for our materials. We've got everything in here, okay? So first of all, I'm gonna make sure all that's accurate, which it's all kind of preset, honestly. Hold on, I'm wigging out. Okay. This is our main page here. This is where we'll come by. We'll be able to side by side see what's the cost of open cell, what's the cost of closed cell, what's the cost of a hybrid where we use some closed cell as a base layer and then open cell on top, and then what's our cost of fiberglass if we go that route. We'll be able to see all three of those prices side by side by side by side. So this is a really cool tool that we've developed over the past, I say we, ain't no mouse in my pocket. It's just me. Y'all, it's just me. So anyway, here we are. We got the Caraway residence right here. Fixing to open this up, see what we got. So the first thing on here is I'm going to be looking at the walls. We're going to get us a perimeter of all the way around the building. So this side's going to be easy, 32 and 1 inch. So take out the handy dandy calculator. I'm actually going to go ahead and shrink this because we're going to be doing some backs and some forths right here. So I got the calculator here, 32.08. And then we're going to be 32. We should be 32. No, we're not going to be 32 on this side. We're going to be 32 plus a little bit on this one. So let's go ahead and figure out the back. And of course, these plans are by Stephanie Thompson. We love Stephanie Thompson. She does a great job. You know, sometimes we got to do a little adding, which is what we're going to do. So because we don't have a number that goes from here to here, all the way on the back, we're going to have to add up each of these individually to figure out where we're at there. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So we got 6 foot plus 4.66 plus 13 plus 20 plus 13. Okay. And this should be our back, all the way across the back. Equals 56.66. So 0.66, that's 8 inches. Now, this house is rectangular, so it's the same on both ends, okay? And now we know this back side is 56.66. We know the front side is 56.66. This edge is 32.1, or not 32.1, it's 32 foot 1 inch. I'm sorry, I'm gonna get a little bit confused here because sometimes we're going to be talking about inches. Sometimes we're going to be talking about decimals. We're going to be going back and forth in between them. And sometimes it takes a minute for my mouth to catch up to my brain. Or really vice versa, because I can talk pretty fast. I just don't think very fast. Okay, so like we pointed out over here already, this is going to be an offset here. I'm not exactly sure what that offset length is yet, but we are going to figure that out. So we've got two 56.66 sides. So we're going to multiply this by 2. 113.32, it's basically 4 inches. 32.1 plus 32.08. It's not 32.1, it's 32 feet 1 inches, which we're going to convert to 32.08. 145.4. 0.4 being slightly over 4 inches. So now we need to find this offset here, right? Okay, because we need to be able to add these in and out. We're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 of these little offsets. So now we can take this, add it all up, 145.14. Let's go ahead and remember that number. 0.14. Not 0.14, point regular 4. You're going to have to excuse my scatteredness. Okay, so we got 11.66 plus we got 2 plus we got 5 plus we got 2 plus we got 11.66. So 32.32. So really, it ain't even, I mean, we're talking about 2 inches difference on this side. That's crazy. That's crazy. Okay. So it is what it is. 32.32 inches. So it's basically going to be the same as the other side. So plus 145.4 equals 177.72. Now we do have these offsets in here. And although our math is coming up with almost no difference between side 1 and side 2, I mean, it's coming up with a 3-inch difference. I know for a fact that this is going to be at least 2 foot. It might be 1.5 feet. We're just going to figure on 2 foot. So we're going to say 2 foot, 2 foot, 2 foot. So that's 6 foot total. So plus 6 foot. Okay. Now this is going to be our perimeter all the way around the building. This is going to give us what number we've got all the way around. So I'm going to take this 183.72 and I'm going to put it right here. 183.72. There we go. Next, we need to find out what's our wall height. How tall are our walls? So there's going to be a few clues here. As you can see, we zoom in on these buildings. 9-foot ceiling. This is a 10-foot ceiling, but it's boxed. So that's going to be a little trick of the trades out there. 9 foot, 9 foot, 9 foot, 9 foot, vaulted ceiling, 9 foot, 9 foot, 9 foot, 9 foot. So safe to assume the eave height is going to be 9 foot. So now if we scroll down to this next page, we can confirm plate height 9 foot. Now, occasionally on the front of the house, you're going to have some different elevations there just to prettify the building. In this case, it looks like it's all going to be at that 9 foot plate height. And we do not have side elevations. So anyway, here we go. Next, we're going to put in our 9 foot right here because that's our plate height. That's our eave height. So now we have a total square footage number of the surface area of the perimeter of the building. But Calder, what about the windows? Well, that's what we're going to do next. So now I like to do it this way. You can do it any way you want. So I'm going to, because these have it all printed out right here, I'm going to go through and here in my, look, house windows and doors. Oh, shoot, a monkey. That was way too much. That was way too much zoom. Okay. Right here, we're going to put in 3 foot wide by 6 foot long by what's our quantity? Well, we're going to start on that front left elevation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 10 306s. So we're going to throw that number in right here. So next, our door. What size is our door? Let's see what the legend says. No legend. So now we're going to guess. We're going to take an educated guess. A 3068 is a common pedestrian doorway. Right now, 3080s are very popular. The first number being the 3 is the 3 foot. The second number, 0, would be how many inches that is. So 30 would be 3 foot, 0 inches. And then our second two numbers, 3080 would be 8 foot, 0 inches. So 3 foot by 8 foot. Or a 3068 would be 3 foot, 0 inches wide by 6 foot, 8 inches tall. Both of those are going to be really common, but the 3080s are a lot more common now just because they look so much better. So like this utility door, it's probably going to be a 3068 just because it's not a main entrance door. But I would bet that the one here in the great room and the one here in the foyer, the double door, I would bet that all three of those are 3080s. So we're going to say a 3080, and we're going to have 3 of those. We're going to have a 306.66, doing it in decimals, but that's 6 foot, 8 inches. We're going to have one of those. And then next, we need to look at our next windows. Now, I think I saw some 4.0s. Here we go in the kitchen. We got a 4.030. So we're going to have one of those, 4.030. We're going to have a quantity of 1. And then down here, we're going to have a 4.040. So we got our 4.040. One of those. Okay. Now, that's all of our windows, all of our doors. That's all of our exterior penetrations in the building. So now this is going to take all those numbers, add them up, and subtract them. Oh my gosh, this thing. It's going to add them all up right here. So we're going to have a total of 1,653 square foot on the outside surface area of the building. And then we're going to subtract 300 square feet, which is going to leave us with 1,354 square feet surface area on the outside of the building. Now, next thing we've got is the roof and the gables. So, the main roof pitch up here, this is all going to be hip roof, but we do have these gables up in the front. So we're going to do the gables first, get those knocked out. And then once we do the gables, then we'll do the main hip roof. So right here, from this corner to this corner is going to be a gable. From this corner to this corner is going to be a gable on the front. Now, we don't have any measurements here, so we're going to have to try to trace this out and find it. And of course, we don't have anything super helpful there. So maybe we could look at the width of, I'm gonna be honest, guys, I apologize. I was really hoping that this plan was gonna be a little bit more done, but they might have sent us the half-baked version of it. We know how long this room is this way. We don't know how long it is this way, which is the one that we need. But look, here, look, this one's easy. Let's start with this one, 13. 13 foot wide, we've got one gable here. So I'm gonna go up here to my gable width. I'm gonna put 13 foot. Next important thing that we need is, what is the roof pitch? We do not have a roof pitch. We're gonna guess a 612 roof pitch. That's pretty common. It could be higher, it could be lower. We'll verify with the builder before we do it. And then, what is the roof deck length? So typically on a hip roof, it's just going to go back to like the main portion of the building. So it's literally going to be that 2 foot. So we're going to put in 2 foot for our roof deck length. Number of slopes on the building, we got 1, we got 2. There's 2 of them there. Okay, 1, 2. So now back to this one. Son of a bitch. Let's see if there's an easier one on the back first. So we've got the one on the carport, which is going to be 22 foot, which honestly, that may not even tie into the house, but there's no way to tell because we don't have a side elevation. We're just going to pretend that it's there. So we're going to do 22, and we're going to do 612. Number of gables, 1 gable. Oh, I do need to fix that over here. I had in 2 gables, it's 1 gable. Okay. And then there's going to be no roof deck length there. So this is just flat. So the gable that's there is just going to be like literally there. That's it, nothing else. And then here we've got 17 foot on this covered porch right here. So the edges are going to be 17 foot apart, 17 foot 3. Oh wait, so that's going to be a 0. Let me put anything there. This one, so gable 3, covered porch, 17.25. We're going to stick with our 612 pitch, 1 gable. We got that. Okay, and then it shouldn't go anywhere because once again, this wall is flat right there. So there's no roof deck length to that one. It's just a gable. So back to the basics. Okay, so look, I'm noticing this now. From here to here is basically 13 foot. It might be 14 because this wall's offset just a little bit. So we're going to call that 14. And then how wide is our foyer? It's just so hard to tell because like there's nothing here to tell us. Okay, I'm going to take an educated guess. I'm going to tell you how I'm guessing this. So this foyer from here to here, I'm going to say the master bedroom 14 foot wide. Seems like an odd number, but we're going to say 14 foot wide. Foyer on the crossways. You can see the edge of this 3060 basically lines up with the edge of this foyer. So if we've got a 30 here, that's 3 feet. And we got another one here, that's 3 feet. So together, those are 6 feet. Now, how far apart are these? We don't know, but I would like to bet that it's another 3 feet. So I would like to guess that this is 9 foot right here. So the 9 and the 13, that would equal 23, am I right? We got 14 foot on the master plus 9 foot on the foyer. That's 23. That's Michael Jordan right there. And I'm kind of like the Michael Jordan of bidding. I'm not going to lie. I'm pretty freaking... Oh, wait. We got to do the roof pitch. 612. We have 1 gable here. Okay. And then we're going to have that 2 foot little offset right there. So we're going to put another 2 foot in there. Now, main roof pitch. So this is going to be what I can only assume is a hip roof. And you can see that because if it was a gabled end, that roof would go straight up. So this is going to be gabled. So we're going to call this, the width is going to be 32 0.08. Ta-da. Now, once again, we do not have a roof pitch. We can only guess what this is. I'm going to guess that it's an 812. I'm going to bet it ain't a 612 because I would bet if it was a 612, peak-wise, it's going to be about the same. I know it's not always going to be the same, but I'm going to guess 812. Just to give it a little more curb appeal, a little more mwah. You know what I mean? Now, gables, hip roof. We have no gables on a hip roof, so we're going to take away the gables there. And this could be a 612, but there's really no way to know. So we're going to guess it big. We'll verify these numbers with the builder, and we'll see what they say. Okay, and then what is our length? We already talked about that. That was a 55. Oh, what was it? It was 55 something. It was this 145 number. You know what? Let's just not take no chances. Let's just redo it again. Okay? Oh, Hannah Ratcliffe's calling me. Are we still recording? Are we still rolling? We are still rolling. Okay, we're gonna answer Hannah Ratcliffe right back in a minute. And actually, guys, her last name is White. She did take my name, so it's just a habit that I call her Hannah Ratcliffe. Okay, plus 13 plus 20 plus 13. That's that 56.66. So that's going to be our roof deck length, 56.66. There we go. Number of slopes, 2, because we got 1 on each side, the front and the back. So now that we have all this information in there, we're ready to move on. Now, this building has a carport on it. Assuming it had a garage, we've got a separate page. We can repeat this entire process for the second page and do the garage. And in that way, if the clients decide, hey, we want to insulate the garage, hey, we don't want to insulate the garage, whatever, it's real easy for us to throw it on, throw it off. Okay, one thing that I did not do is we need to put our first floor heated. This is for our fiberglass. So 1937 would be our heated area. Okay. So now we have everything in here. So we can analyze now. We can make a educated decision. So I'm just going to change this back to 55. Okay. So let's just say we did, that was way wrong. We're just going to bid this with the same R value each way. Okay. And in that way we can see where we're at. Okay. And then actually, I mean, the R value is not going to be exactly apples to apples, but let's see. We'll throw in our. Okay. And I'm going to be honest, I think I've got my fiberglass on, yeah, here it is. This is Home Depot pricing. We need to fix that back to 106 and 43. 30.16. Okay. Yeah, that number looks better. Okay, so here we go. On the open cell, if we did 3.5 inches on the walls, R14, 5.5 inches on the roof deck, then we're looking at $6,409.68. We're gonna make 26% profit on this, $1,700 basically. It's gonna take us 2.07 shifts, so about 2 days. I would go ahead and give it another half day in there just to make sure we got time to clean up, because that's a pretty tight schedule. So I'd say about 2.5 days to get that finished, about 41 man hours. Now, if we did R14 walls closed cell, R21 roof deck closed cell, that's going to be 2 inches of closed cell on the walls, 3 inches of closed cell on the roof deck. Now we're looking at a total of $16,496. Now, material cost for this is way more expensive. You can see here on the open cell, we're only using 1 1/4 sets. Whereas on the closed cell, to get the same result, we'd be looking at 3 and almost a half here. So A lot more material, a lot higher material cost just alone. Man hour wise, we're still looking at, you know, basically 3 days to get that finished. On the closed cell, great thing about it is you don't have a whole lot of shaving to do, so I think you could maintain that 3-day timeline there. Okay, so 16,000, that's crazy. Okay, kind of in between these two spots, we've got our hybrid at 10,764.24, and that's going to incorporate a 1-inch base layer of closed cell around the building, and then you're going to put a little bit of open cell on top of there to get that R value up at a cheaper cost. So here we're looking at kind of a medium price point between these two, but you get the benefit of each. And then here on the bottom end, we've got our fiberglass. This is going to be an R13 exterior fiberglass bats, and then it's also going to be 12 inches or roughly R30 to 32, depending on what gauge you're looking at. About an R30 minimum for the blow in if we did it that way. So as you can see, like the cost of fiberglass versus the cost of spray foam, not totally that different. Now, where it can be bigger is if you get into bigger roof pitches. So like if we change this main roof pitch to say, say a 12-12 pitch, well, now you're looking at a minimum cost of $7 grand for the open cell, whereas you're still maintaining underneath $5,000 for fiberglass. So as long as you don't have like a crazy roof pitch, like spray foam's not that expensive, just because you save so much time with it. But anyway, so there it is, guys. That's how we do it. That's how we would choose it, and that would be our cost for any of these services on this build. Stay tuned, see what you learn next.